Hey, Mariam, stop being sick. This won't be too long. I don't think. I'm not sure. Can you, Maggie, can you please hit the lower left-hand switch, please? Okay, so this is just what I want to show you right now. Please be quiet. In the, the current Wave 4 folder that goes all the way to ROC, and it is organized because of Schoolably. It's organized the opposite of Facebook. The most recent is on the bottom, so that's in earliest to latest. So here we are. MIT 35, due next class. Documentary on the ROC1. I've embedded it for you. Now, okay, you're welcome. That wasn't hard. And you don't really need to watch it because we're going to watch it in class. But this is what I want to point out to you. It is an outline of the entire thing. Now, keep listening to me. Huh? Stop. Okay, why not? Okay. Are you going to open it here, or are you going to open it on this screen? Okay, they're opening it on this screen. Mother. Son of a... Will you just let me put the bloody thing there? Oh, you son of a... Curse word. Oh, son of a mother... Where is it? Where'd the Word freaking document go? I hate this. Come on. Jesus. Oh, God almighty. Damn, I hate you. Okay, all right. Well, that's lovely. Jesus freaking... This is all I'm trying to show you here.
Here we go.
So that's the entire thing. Okay? So, and just to make you understand, this is, as I think I've told you already, I did. I told you about this documentary done by the West, but being very, very balanced and amazingly produced. Fantastic production. Points of view from both sides, the Chinese and the Western, from the Taiwanese side, the Kuomintang side, from the communist rebel side, from the American side, diplomats who were there with Mao's bandits, on and on and on, right? So okay, why am I giving you, Paige, Amy, why am I giving you notes? Because I don't want you to be staring at your paper, at your notebooks, taking notes. I want you to watch the film. Because the historical footage and the interview footage, every moment is a true treat. It's like having star guest lecturers come into the class. So that's why. So you can keep your notebooks open only to occasionally jot down, because you do have an MIT. So that's what the video was embedded in the MIT. It's just because Mariam's not here. So the only time I want you to jot anything down is certain moments where you're just that peasant woman interview. Peasant woman interview, that's enough because that was interesting to you, right? So you're only noting just a reminder to yourself of what was truly interesting, because trust me, this thing's truly interesting. Now, all right, so that's there. That's due next class, not a big assignment. Okay, so when we last left off, Did we do this, the May 4th movement?
Yes.
Okay, and we did the communist and the Kuomintang? Did we? And Chiang Kai-shek and the Northern Expedition?
Technically talked a lot about Europe.
I know. The May 4th movement. And the fact that isms are coming into China now, Western isms. What the hell? What? What? Unhand me, Buddhist keychain. Okay. Yeah, that's what that was all about. So, okay, let's see. I need to leave that there for freshmen, strangely. I do want you to write down one easy mnemonic, all right? Because, okay, as you've noticed, I've started just like giving you occasional quizzes on basic core knowledge. And so, okay, please write this right now. You with me? Write this down. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Look at me when you're finished writing it. Damn, Maggie, you writing a novel? You done? Don't let me hurry. I mean, if you need like to finish writing the word friend, don't just write the enemy of my enemy is my fry. Above it, or in a big box next to it, write how to remember the history of the entire ROC, because this is a mnemonic for the entire 1911 to 1949 Republic of China. Mnemonic, ROC 1911 to 1949. And now I want you to like look at each other and like answer this simple question. How many parties are in that, two questions. A, how many parties are in that saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? How many separate parties are in that saying? That's the first question. And then the second question, what happens when the common enemy is gone? Go, talk, do you get it? How many parties? Okay, so pat yourself on the back if you could count to 3. Enemy, enemy of my friend. I'm sorry, enemy, my friend, and me, right? 3. All right, so now, what happens when that common enemy is gone? How many are left?
2.
And what do? They fight each other. All right, so now, back to our mnemonic. At the end of that little saying, put parentheses ×2, closing parentheses. So here's number 1. Now write number 1. You already know this. Who are the enemies and who are the 2 friends who are enemies but they have a common enemy? When Yuan Shikai dies.
The enemies were the warlords, and the friend would be the communists and the Kuomintang.
Good. So communists and nationalists, or GMD. Please feel free to write GMD for Kuomintang. That's the nationalists. So, and communists, instead of writing that big handful of number of letters, you can just write CCP. Chinese Communist Party. CCP, GMD. That's perfectly fine when you're typing MITs. That's what we do. like USA instead of United States of America, right? So GMD and CCP versus Warlords. Years? 1917 to 1927. Clearly, what happens in 1927? Huh?
The warlords get removed.
The warlords are gone. So what, okay, now notice these are two parties, and they've just eliminated their common enemy. So what's going to happen to these two parties now? They're fight. And what do we call it when two domestic political parties, or two domestic massive group armies fight? Civil war. So, okay, so, do you see the pattern? Triangle becomes pair in a civil war. So the civil war now is going to be between
Communists.
CCP and GMD, and that's going to last from 1927 to 1937. Jared, you got some energy? Did you write that down? By the way, we call the communists and nationalists fighting together, teaming up, allying, we call those united fronts. I think I may have told you that last time, did I? So we call the first one against the warlords the first united front. It's basic language, we're almost done. We're just, you know, what's the name of it when these two guys ally? The first united front against the warlords. The first united front, CCP and GMD, against the warlords. And then a civil war until 1937. And then, in 1937, very dramatically, and you'll see that on the video, I'm just giving you sort of a preview, we have a new common enemy. Communist and nationalist in their civil war because they have a new common enemy. It's not warlords this time, it is Japan. So that's the number two. Number two, CCP, Second United Front. Second United Front. CCP and GMD versus Japan. That's 1937. Until 2 mushroom clouds later, Japan is no longer in the picture. 2 mushroom clouds later, you know about the atomic bombs falling on Japan, right? So that's 1945. 1937 to 1945. Second United Front. That's called World War II to the west. To China, it's called the war against Japanese aggression. Two mushroom clouds later, in 1945, there's no more common enemy, and so what happens?
They fight each
They
other.
fight each other.
And so that's called the what Civil War? The Second Civil War. Which is really just a continuation of the first. And that's from 1945 to 1949. And of course, as we all know, the communists lose the Civil War. And today, Chinese government is called the Kuomintang.
Yeah.
No! Kidding! The communists win. They're the good guys.
What is this space?
No! We had the best time in advisory today. We threw the I Ching, the Book of Changes. We tossed coins on the online I Ching Book of Changes. We tossed coins for Alex Makatsarias, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's promposing. I guess he promposed during lunch. And so the question was, we decided we were going to ask the I Ching, will the prom be good? Will Alex's prom be good? And we threw the coins on the online I Ching, and we got the hexagram, and we read it, and it was hilarious. Because two of the lines were broken lines that were like all tails. The three coins were all tails, so those are change lines, so they change into solid, and so that's got like a hexagram 1 is changing into this, and so that means that's the future. And so the question was, is his prom going to be good? Alex's prom going to be good? And so the hexagram image was called, for the first one, increasing. Well, that sounds good if things are like increasing. Is it going to be good? Yeah, it's going to get better and better. But there were two change lines, and they went to, this is hilarious, if you have a dirty mind. Increasing's image said increasing, gentle, wind. Maybe wood, which if you have a dirty mind is kind of funny. If you know slang, okay. Increasing wood, kind of funny if you know slang. Okay, so the second one was called, what was it, Matthew?
Below, and then it said like arousing.
Yeah, but the name of it was really funny. Oh, well, I'll get back to you on it. But yeah, it had really funny things in it. It was like arousing, below, thunder, below. I'm like, ooh, baby. So that's what it changes into. It's increasing, and then, ooh, thunder and arousing below. I Ching, you dirty little book, you. Right? It's funny. So fun. That's advisory when you break the rules and go, I don't want to talk about grit. All right. Do you want to talk about grit? Do you want to like force feed them grits? I do. All right. Okay, you awake now?
Jared left, so yeah.
This is going to start in 1900 when the Qing falls. It's kind of a preview. Now, so all I want you to do, I love my new Firefox add-on. It doesn't let YouTube auto start. All I want you to do is enjoy the footage of this. This is preview. Just sit back and relax. Of course, it goes deeper. It's more interesting. Look at Qing China in 1900. It was the age of motion pictures. We've got images of Qing China.
At the beginning of the 20th century, China looked much the same as it had for hundreds of years. The country was still ruled by an emperor. Men wore their hair in long queues as a sign of subservience to the ruling dynasty.
In the old days, barbers carried all their...
I love him. Now, so, this was made in about 1990. How old do you think this guy is? Come on, how old do you think he is? 70, maybe 80, maybe 85? Beautiful teeth. This is what I love about the Chinese. Like, the old guys. I like the old guys. So all of these old guys are not just like random old people. These are people that were there when they were young. They lived through all this drama. So don't ignore these people. They're amazing. And by the way, if you ever go to China and you see really old people, just realize, dudes, you're going to see what they have lived through decade by decade. They have had amazing lives. You have no idea. And they're funny as hell. So do you think that he's an upper class guy? Does he seem to be like, I don't know, a scholar official's son? Who said no? Why? I agree with you. Why?
Because these scholar officials are like really, really high class.
And does he seem high class? So you're going to see classes here. That's just what I'm pointing out to you. You're going to see peasants. Who are the peasants going to join? The nationalists or the communists? The communists, because they want land reform. They want equality, all this sort of stuff. So you're going to see them in all of their semi-literate glory. Are they stupid because they're not educated? Oh hell no! You just watch. And then you're going to see the elites wearing their nice ties.
Stuff on a shoulder pole, and they worked in the street. In the old days, barbers carried all their stuff on a shoulder pole, and they worked in the street. If a barber saw a person who had no queue, he could report him. And if he did so, the person could be beheaded. The saying was, keep your hair or lose your head.
We talked about the queue, right? You know, I mean, sometimes this is like middle school stuff, but did you see the long ponytails that they had? The braided ponytails? That's called a queue. Q-U-E-U-E, a queue. And that was the Qing's, when the Qing conquered and made their empire and the Ming resisted, Ming loyalists down south resisted, the Qing were like, we've got to like figure out which Han Chinese are loyal to us and which are rebellious. And so here's a new edict. Shave the top of your head, front half of your head, the Manchu hairstyle, and have a bald front half and a braided queue in the back. So that's the thing. Shave your head or lose your head or whatever it was.
Keep your hair or lose your head.
Yeah, and so now when people started becoming Han nationalists against the Manchu, they started cutting off their queues as just a sign of resistance after the Boxer Rebellion. So that's the joke.
Beneath the traditional appearance, there was growing discontent with imperial rule. In 1911, a military revolt spread around the country, and the emperor was overthrown. Men cut off their queues in a symbolic gesture of revolution.
Sometimes at the city gate, I saw people with big scissors. Whenever they saw someone with a queue, they cut it off. I saw people crying, saying, now they say we are revolutionaries. What are we supposed to do?
The cutting of queues was only the beginning of the revolution. The Republic of...
You see this guy? Notice him, what's he doing?
China was declared.
What are we supposed to do?
The cutting of queues was only the beginning of the revolution. The Republic of China was declared.
What was he doing?
Pointing at the camera.
Pointing at the camera, because what the hell is this Western technological stuff? We've never seen it. We are still traditional, right? They've never seen a camera before. And here's
The country was soon caught up in an ideological battle. Two men led the struggle.
Do you recognize him? Chiang Kai-shek. Or Chiang Kai-shek, who we talked about last time. We talked about him last time? You'll know them all very well. He's going to be the leader of the Kuomintang. In the First United Front, who is he side by side with? Or in the Civil War, actually, who's he side by side? You'll see.
Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong. The conflict transformed world politics, for in 1949, China became what it is today, the largest communist state on earth. This is the story of China in revolution.
So notice that goes through the First United Front and the First Civil War.
In the early years of the Republic, the central government was weak and ineffective. Dozens of military commanders, called warlords, moved into the political vacuum.
In the early days of the Republic, the warlords fought each other. When I was a child in Guangxi province, I saw so many battles. You can't imagine how many battles were fought. Lots of people were so scared, they just went and hid.
He just what?
Went and hid.
He went ahead. Okay, now, does he look... You are going to see people who went with Chiang Kai-shek at the end of the Second Civil War to Taiwan. So they're nationalists. They tended to be elites. And they went to Taiwan. The rich people. Many rich people stayed with Mao and the communists in China after the Civil War, or after the revolution. But most of them fled. So he's clearly not a peasant type. We can see that through his dress and the books behind him and such. And so I'm just trying to get you to like be thinking as you're watching, who am I seeing here? Because they don't tell you anything more than their name.
When warlords got into a fight, people's lives were completely devastated.
The warlords were a diverse group. The warlord of Manchuria was a major figure in national politics. The opium warlord made a fortune growing poppies.
Opium oil. That's poppies, they make opium from that.
The Christian general was said to baptize his troops with a fire hose.
Forced conversion of a completely new sort.
Many warlords were landlords. They were often supported by a certain foreign power. In the early years of the
Many warlords were landlords. They were often supported by... Isn't that interesting how indirect he is? By a certain foreign power. What do you learn from that? Discuss with each other. Now, I'm not going to let you watch this passively. I can't do that. When he says warlords were supported by, quote, a certain foreign power, who might he be talking about? Please discuss and try to go deeper into this. Let's do a quick review. What foreign powers are still in China after the Qing falls? Do you remember your spheres of influence?
Russia.
Russia up north? Where? Where was Russia?
Oh, France got all of the... No, Britain.
Russia was by Japan.
Russia was by Japan up there in what?
Manchuria.
Manchuria, right? And Japan was up there in Manchuria, especially after they beat Russia in the Russo-Japanese War in 1905. Okay, so Japan and Russia are both up there in Manchuria. This is going to be very, very, very... Jared, don't. Stand up if you need to. This is going to be my old narcolept. I got a new name for you. Narcolepsy J. That's like a gangster name. Yo, my name be Narcolepsy J, yo. All right, say that for me, Jared. Yo. Okay. Manchuria and Japan up north. Who gets the Yangtze? The Yangtze, sorry. Britain, because that's the richest. And who's down south? France. Do you know where Germany got? We don't get to talk about that too much. Do you know where Germany got them? Qingdao, and Shandong, where we went for intro, right? And, okay, so they're still there. That's the important point. They are still there. The fall of the Qing didn't mean that suddenly imperialism's all over and now China has no foreigners in it. No, China still has freaking foreigners in it. It's, to repeat, opium is still a problem. Extraterritoriality, spheres of influence, treaty ports, unequal treaties, Boxer indemnity, all of this stuff is still a problem. So, certain foreign powers are now supporting the warlords. Who would they be? Is it clear now that it's going to be like whatever country is owning the sphere of influence, just wanting to keep itself on good terms with whoever's in power to keep their business interests going?
Yeah.
public. China was torn apart by foreign powers. For instance, Guangxi and Guangdong provinces were under the influence of England and Yunnan of France.
Since the 19th century, England, France, Germany, the United States, and Japan had traded with China. They based their interests in the major ports around the country.
The footage is so great. Traditional Chinese junk.
Most foreigners lived in
Modern.
special areas called concessions, which they controlled with their own local governments.
Look, it's woodlands. Gated communities. Extraterritoriality. Concessions. Look.
We didn't have the term imperialism. The term came later. We called them foreign devils. They were devils to us. Why did we hate foreigners? We hated any foreigner, any foreign country that wanted to divide up China. It was called divide up then, not invade. They wanted to divide up China just like cutting a melon into pieces. People used to say, now you want to divide up our country, you foreign devils. You're bastards.
I beg your pardon, I take that personally. Please note, what you were seeing here is the Chinese having a sense of being Chinese and wanting to protect their country from foreign exploiters. What do we call that when people start feeling an identity with their nation?
Nationalism.
The rise of Chinese nationalism. What direction will it go? We did that entire Enlightenment and French Revolution and ideologies thing to remind you, and if you were absent last time, that the Enlightenment spawned liberal democracy as solutions to the feudalism of the French ancient regime, but they also later, because of industrialism, spawned this idea of communism. Not free market capitalism and democracy, but communism. And when the Chinese had choices, that's the two choices that they were facing with these new ideas for nationalism.
In May 1919, for the first time, Chinese took to the streets to protest this dividing up of their country.
May what? This is May 4th movement.
They saw that the problems of imperialism and warlords had pushed China to the verge of collapse. The demonstration sparked a vocal nationalism and an intense search for political solutions. One of the few political leaders addressing these problems was Sun Yat-sen. Sun was the leader of a coalition group called the Nationalist Party. He was a charismatic man whose speeches attracted many to his cause. Sun knew that the first thing he needed was an army to defeat the warlords and unite the country. He appealed to Western governments for money for his cause.
At the time, none of the imperialist countries wanted to help us. Only the Soviet Union wanted to help us. The Soviet Union had no friends in Asia, so they had to work with us. England and the other countries didn't want us to be united. It appeared the Soviet Union did want to help us. China had to be united, so of course we cooperated with them.
One condition of Soviet help was that the Nationalist Party allow members of the newly formed Chinese Communist Party to join. Sun agreed, and in 1924, the Soviets helped him set up a military academy just outside Canton. The Whampoa Academy quickly became a magnet for patriotic youth from all over China. Some were nationalists, some were communists, some were not affiliated with any party. They trained for a military campaign that would one day unite the country. The Northern